What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. Now seeing legal spokesperson and attorney for Donald Trump, Alina Habba, coming forth with a new update, filling us in, connecting the dots on the charade court case. Alvin Bragg, in tandem with his partner in crime, Juan Merchan, that very corrupt judge. She's keying us into this newest update on how this thing is heading straight towards being tossed out. Know we've got closing arguments ahead of us tomorrow. We'll get those special jury instructions from the judge. But I just don't see how this case won't end up being a hung jury. I mean, I don't see those jurors coming to a guilty verdict amongst them all. I mean, this thing has little to no fact inside of this case. It's going to be very hard. It's a confusing case. There is no initial crime for this cover-up. I mean, this case just is all so spotty. I'm excited to get into the updates to exactly what legal spokesperson and attorney Donald Trump, Alina Habba's got to say in this update. So I'm going to get straight into the clip, and I'll give my thoughts on the back end, guys. So definitely stick around to the end. So I just get my thoughts on the back end. And also, YouTube, push this video out. Definitely stick around till the end, you guys. But let's get straight to the news. Before we do that, though, make sure you guys hit that like button for me, and also hit that subscribe button, guys. We're on the road to the truth. Hop aboard for the journey. Yo, let's get into it, y'all.
Back on Tuesday, former President Trump's defense team and Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's team will begin closing arguments in the Trump versus New York trial. Then Judge Juan Merchan, he's going to provide the critical instructions to the jury on what the applicable law is in the case. Joining us now, Trump legal spokesperson Alina Habba. Alina, good to see you. So, again, all the evidence is in. On Tuesday, we're going to see summation or closing arguments. The jury is going to be instructed as to the law. What is your read on the case, but also your read on the instructions that are going to be given to the jury?
The instructions we've been going back and forth with are going to be finally tweaked. The concern with the instructions, which is frankly the most critical part, they have no facts. Let's be clear. I sat through this trial, and you know, I would tell you if I was concerned on factual basis. But as I've said, and I'm not speaking now to posture for the president, but just generally as an attorney, as an American who understands the law and how to apply laws to facts, there are no facts that support this alleged crime. We're not even sure what the crime is. So it's a books and records issue. We have to make sure that the jury charges that Judge Merchan, who again, we have said is severely conflicted for reasons that I can't speak to because of the unconstitutional gag order. But this judge is the judge that determines the jury instructions. The jury instructions are the roadmap for non-attorneys and jurors to follow the law. It's going to be critical, and frankly, at this point, I have zero confidence in the fact that this person, who should not be sitting on the bench right now, will do the right thing and give jury instructions that are in an appropriate manner without any persuasion towards the prosecution. There's my biggest concern. It always has been. There was no case. As we saw, the taxpayer dollars have been wasted for 8 years for a case that has passed the statute of limitations that doesn't exist in a political campaign to take down Trump. So now you've held jurors for 5 weeks. We've been sitting here. We saw no facts. And the last resort for the prosecution is going to be this judge with political motivations going to give them instructions on how to decide the fate of a former president and the future president of the United States.
Well, listen, as we've watched this case unfold, it's interesting. There's been so much irrelevant evidence presented to the jury. I think it's going to be important for Team Trump to simplify this case and apply it to the facts that are given. I think that's going to be the mission at hand on Tuesday. I spent 10 years in a courtroom, and I have never seen a judge say, we're going to wait a week after the evidence closes to actually do closing arguments and then give jury instructions. This is unheard of. But I'm going to tell you what, there's a silver lining in this, Alina. Donald Trump needs a juror or jurors who are driven by justice to fight for him. I don't want a juror on Thursday or Friday going into Memorial Day weekend to go, you know what, I got a party going on. I want to end this case early. So starting on Tuesday, there's nothing on the calendar. We're not going into a holiday weekend. I think it could bode well for President Trump, for those people on the jury who understand the law and the facts to fight for him and fight for justice. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. The only counter argument to that, and of course it's the lawyer in me to give you the counter, but the counter argument to that is these are not sequestered jurors.
True.
They should have been sequestered because, in my opinion, these jurors are handling something that is completely unprecedented and unwarranted in America. And for them to be able to be out and about on a holiday weekend with friends and families who have opinions, who are watching the news, TV's on the background at the pool party, I have serious concerns. If they're left-winging and they're watching MSDNC, as my client calls it, or CNN, they're not going to get fair news. They're going to hear, but by the way, they have been saying that this case is a hoax, which is shocking. But they know that the jurors are out there listening, and I have concerns about that. Time can be on your side. Sometimes you're right there. But in this instance, I have worries about them going back to whatever friends might have, Trump derangement syndrome, forgetting all sense of reality and coming back and sitting in that box and saying, you know what, I've got to take one for the DNC. I don't want that. I want law to fact, because if we can get that, we will win. We will not just get a hung jury, we will get an acquittal. So let's see.
But you had 5 weeks where those jurors were probably interacting with those same left-wingers. They got to see Donald Trump in the Bronx and all the love and support he got from communities that you normally don't see with Donald Trump. I want to pivot to this because legal expert Alan Dershowitz, he called Judge Merchan a tyrant. And now we have Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman from New York, who has filed an ethics complaint against the judge, claiming that he is conflicted because of his daughter who works for the Democrat Party. We might think this, again, who your family works for, not a big deal if you have a judge that's fair in the case. But when we see the politics of this case, it does beg the question and the appropriateness of Elise Stefanik filing the ethics complaint against this judge.
I think there was, and I can't speak specifically to it, I'll only speak generally because of the gag, but there was financial motivation there. That's more critically important. There can't be financial motivation in donations. Look it up, but that's the key issue here. So he 100% should have recused. We're past that point. At this point, that's a good issue for an appeal because the judge refused to recuse himself. But there is no question that it's politically motivated. And there's also no question that their political motivation has hurt the Democratic Party. If you look at President Trump in the Bronx, the people coming out, people that felt that they've been persecuted, coming out in support of this man that they now see as somebody who's a victim of selective prosecution, who's been persecuted because of his politics, no different than going after somebody because of their race or their religion. That is President Trump. They have made him a victim because they are so aggressively desperate, because they have a candidate that cannot win, truly cannot win. He can't win on policies. He can't win on walking up the stairs. So they have to go to desperate measures. And now we're looking at it, and it's hurting them. We've got so much support out there. I can tell you from my personal life and my experience, I walk on the street, people just keep saying, keep fighting for America. We need our America back. And that's what's happening. It's turning. So I'm hoping for a verdict that makes sense, which should be a complete acquittal. Worst case, if there's politicization, which I'm sure there will be, there should be a hung jury. But I sat there was nothing. And I was sitting next to Alan Dershowitz in court when that judge lost his mind and threw the press out. The only time you censor the press is when you don't want them to hear our witness. It's crazy.
The American people do have interaction with the criminal justice system, whether it's in the newspaper or friends or family members. And they've looked at this case and they go, I've never heard or seen anything like this. They truly are confused, which is why Donald Trump has gone up in the polls since these charges. It hasn't been the other way around, as which Democrats had hoped. Alina Habba, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
Oh my goodness, guys. There you have it. This raid case, the Alvin Bragg's, is truly falling apart right at the foundation was too weak, too flimsy for it to hold up, withstand all of this pressure. I mean, you don't have a lot of fact backing this case. And that's where you lose the audience, where you lose your jurors. That's what we're getting from legal spokesperson and attorney for Donald Trump, Alina Habba, right here in this clip, where she's letting us know the jury is going to end up hung jury, or even, maybe even get Donald Trump acquitted for this crime, because it just doesn't make sense. There is no initial crime for the cover up. We've got, so much political motivation, personal interest within this case. I mean, between that political judge, political district attorney Alvin Bragg, even the witness has personal interest and motive to get back at Donald Trump. Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels got more, monetary interest within this case. I mean, this thing doesn't end with the interest within it. This whole thing is conflicted, convoluted, shouldn't have been brought about in the first place. This was a dead case floating in the water. DA Alvin Bragg takes a floating Frankenstein case and revives it in order to come after this guy, Donald Trump, and interfere with, this is his last stab, interfering with that 2024 election. And it's done nothing but the opposite of what he thought it was going to do. He thought this was going to be, negatively hurting the image of Donald Trump. This has unified the folks over in that corrupt state. This is a blue state of New York. Even though the courts may be corrupt, the folks and the citizens can still see what's going on. That's why we got the folks in the Bronx, going nuts for Donald Trump. They can see that this is a political persecution of, a political opponent. And folks are calling exactly how they're seeing it. Alina Habba saying that people on the street are saying, keep fighting for America, keep fighting for us. And that right there just shows you she's looked at like a superhero without the cape inside that courtroom. You got to just think, if that's how they're looking at Donald Trump's lawyer, imagine how we're looking at him. He's got the big cape on. He's actually, doing this and, taking the bullets. They're all reflecting off of him as the left is sending all those bullets. I mean, that's actually how we're seeing at this point. This guy is like a superhero, standing in front of, all of the American citizens, those folks that are behind him, backing him. They're trying to get to us and he's just standing in front, strong, not backing down, not cowering at all. I mean, this thing is truly incredible to see, especially with the amount of cases that he's overcome. 5 charade cases. This guy is almost impenetrable at this point, and to think he's going to come back and seek that retribution once he gets in that seat. I mean, this thing, if you're on the left, I could see why they're panicking at this point with this last stab charade case. Alvin Bragg had to dig deep into that closet, blow the cobwebs off this case in order to bring it about on Donald Trump. I don't think this thing will amount to much. We're going to get, closing arguments, jury instructions coming tomorrow. This is, I guess, the roadmap for the jurors to make that verdict or make the decision whether or not they're going to say Donald Trump is guilty or not. I'm going to stand firm on my stance that this thing is heading straight towards getting tossed out. At the least a hung jury, but I'm with Alina Habba on this one. This thing has little to no fact. The foundation is too shaky. I feel like this is about the time where it just all busts and caves in. Definitely hop in the comment section and let me know. You guys think this thing is going to amount to much, or you guys see this thing still getting tossed out? Definitely hop in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Also, make sure you guys hit that share button and share this out to as many Facebook friends as possible. Guys, share the truth. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button. It doesn't cost one thing, guys. Hit that like button for your boy. Also, hit that subscribe button, guys. We're on the road to the truth. Hop aboard for the journey. I'll catch you guys on the next week.